only because when TJ, Suichi, and Oleg climbed into theirs, it felt very much like they were just going to get in a car and take a trip and go home. It wasn't so dramatic until the very last moment where they climbed into their vehicle and we closed the hatch, and it was like, oh, they're leaving. And so I imagine that very day is going to feel much like that for everybody else on board, except me. I will probably be in tears. But so the first step would be to get inside, and then most of the work will be done by my two Russian crewmates, Sasha and Misha, as they prepare our vehicle to undock and come back home. At some point, we'll put on our Sokol suits, our launch and entry suits, and climb into our seats and get ourselves strapped in and braced. From that point forward, we will do a deorbit burn and rotate the Soyuz so that it's in just the right orientation to re-enter the atmosphere. And this step's called разделение, and it's where the modules separate, and the living compartment, the BO, goes in one orbit. The instrumentation compartment goes into another orbit, and then we in the descent module will go straight through the atmosphere and hopefully land on target. Here's a funny story. The night before I left Star City, Russia, for Baikonur, I sat down with Mike Foale, who is a veteran astronaut, quite experienced, and has spent his fair share of time inside a Soyuz. And we sat down on the couch and just had a conversation about all the bells, bangs, and whistles that we'll hear, because there certainly are, there's a plentitude, I understand, of sights and sounds as you're re-entering. And it was a very interesting conversation as we talked about, at this point you're going to hear a bang, and then you're going to feel this jolt, and then you're going to kind of smell this interesting odor as the ablation material starts to burn off. And anybody sitting outside this conversation would have thought we were mad, that we were absolutely nuts for signing up for this, because it didn't sound anything less dramatic than a car crash. But and I've heard it described as a train wreck followed by a car crash followed by a falling off your bike kind of thing. But honestly, I think that's just folks trying to find a bit of humor in a hard landing, which I understand the Soyuz is. But they trained us very well for this. Our seats are molded to fit us. I don't think I've ever had anything fit me so well as my Sokol suit and my seat liner. And we strap ourselves in and brace ourselves for the soft landing jets to fire, and we feel Mother Earth again at our back. I've heard so many stories from people describing what landing's like, and all I can really say is that I'm going to expect this to be Mr. Toad's Wild Ride for me. Much more like the launch was. There's no simulator that is as good as the day of launch, where you have all of the jostling, the sounds, and the true environment that you're launching in. Plus, I haven't trained as often in the as much in the Soyuz as I have in the shuttle, and when I launched and landed in the shuttle, I had a pretty good feel for the timing of when big events were going to happen, and I could anticipate a lot better than I can in the Soyuz. And though I've been trained to the extent everyone is trained in a Soyuz, we just don't spend enough time operationally as a corps of astronauts at the Soyuz that to the same degree like we do the shuttle. So when I launched on the shuttle and when I landed on the shuttle, I had spent so much time outside of my training as an astronaut, as a Cape Crusader and astronaut support personnel down at the Cape. I've climbed inside the orbiter, and I've been in that simulator a dozen times, that you could be asleep and run through the whole ascent and entry profile in your mind and prepare yourself that way. we don't have that kind of time nor luxury with the Soyuz, nor do we have the same opportunities that we do for the shuttle. And so that level of anticipation is really just provided to me by my fellow crewmates who have gone before me. And so I hang on to their descriptions, and I look forward to experiencing this to a large degree. There's a small degree of me that says, you know, there's some key things. Make sure your straps are tight. You get your head back and your tongue is not between your teeth when you land. These are things that are simple, and I can remember them. I'm lucky that I am in the right seat and I don't have a whole lot to do. Mostly the commander is the one that's got a lot of work to do, and the left seater is monitoring systems. And those two are, it's their job to make sure everything goes as planned and according to schedule. And then I'm pretty much there to provide weight and balance, I think. And those are my thoughts on that. I'm really looking forward to being extracted from the Soyuz right where we're supposed to land and getting carried like a princess to my fur chair. I've seen it happen a dozen of times on television, and I simply can't wait to feel what that chair is like. Granted, I will be slightly mesmerized by all of the vestibular effects of entering 1G. I hope that does not cloud the sensation of resting in a furry chair. And then I can't wait to be carried by 4 people to a tent in my furry chair. I understand you get an apple when you land. I'm kind of looking forward to that too, because it's not every day on board space station that you get an apple. So I think that's kind of cool. I can't wait to taste that. I hope that when it comes time to take my Sokol suit off, that the world has slowed down spinning long enough for me to get my head through my neck dam and out of my suit. Once that happens, everyone can pick it back up and start spinning again. But until that happens, I sure hope that we all kind of remain calm so that I can do this pretty smoothly and feel like a hero to myself for hanging in there. Until my Sokol suit comes off, I don't think I'm going to feel like my mission is over.
And that was Tracy Caldwell-Dyson just a few days ago describing what she called Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. That